Hello and good evening. This is Josh, and welcome to JW2542 Tutoring SHSAT Math Course, Lesson number 8, Ratio Problems. Before we begin, my name is Joshua Wiener, and this is my online version of the 2023 to 24 SHSAT Math course that I personally wrote for tutoring houses here in New York City for the Specialized High School Achievement Test. I'm a graduate in 4 years of Bronx High School of Science, and went on to double major at City College and was accepted into graduate school to be a math educator at Teachers College, Columbia University, with them where I earned a master's of arts in mathematics education in 2012. For over the past 15 years, I have been tutoring students for grades 5 to 12, as well as college and graduate students in mathematics and the sciences. So welcome. Welcome to this free course. Just as a quick note, I spent many years as a circus performer and musician, performing quite often for tips by donation. And so as a service back to those who supported me over the years, and because I want to share this way, I'm offering the course free by donation online here on my YouTube channel. You can donate to support this content and the development of this class on Venmo. I recommend $50 per lesson, but of course, this is completely voluntary, and you donate what you wish. Any donation is appreciated. It helps develop this course, which hopefully will be published soon. Without any further ado, let's begin SHSAT lesson number 8, a focus on ratio problems. The SHSAT math sections overview shows that the math questions on the SHSAT will focus on 9th and 10th grade mathematics with the following topics: algebra, geometry, the coordinate plane, charts and graphs, probability and statistics, and a few other math topics. Those topics can be covered as problem solving, which are included in some textbooks, but for collections, I would look at exams such as Pass SHSAT, as well as the AMC 8 exam, which you can find at theartofproblemsolving.com. Also, if your school has a mathematics team in middle school, and you can go to the math department and get further resources on the types of problems that you'll encounter on this specific exam, the SHSAT. In its current format, 2023, there's 75 minutes for the math section, 5 grid-in questions, and 52 multiple choice questions for a total of 57 math questions. Tonight, we'll focus on lesson number 8 in a modular course where I'm offering 25 lessons for free online. Tonight, we're going to focus on ratio problems. And before we get to that, note that this is part of a 33-lesson course, of which I'm sharing for free online, 25 lessons. Most of the lessons begin with number sense and algebra, and then continue with geometry, charts and graphs, and then end with probability and statistics problems. Each of the lessons contains several problems that are of problem-solving type, where you have to discover, as a working student, what is it the writer is trying to ask me to do? Do I know any method to solve this? How can I combine my knowledge of different lessons to solve these math problems or logic puzzles? So what makes this test a little more difficult for many students is that it asks you to extend your knowledge and make connections between different math lessons, whether it's a word problem or written in algebraic form. Before we get to tonight's lesson number 8 on ratio problems and a few model problems to show how they're written on the SHSAT, we always begin class with a warm-up quiz. And here I have a quiz for you, SHSAT quiz number 8, with 2 easy level, 2 mid-level, and 1 challenge level question. When we do this in class, we have 5 questions for 10 minutes practice as a warm-up, just to get you oriented on the math for the SHSAT. So I welcome you to click on the link if you need to pause the video if you're watching this on YouTube. And here we go with class quiz number 8. Also, I would like to share this on Twitch. Sorry, I forgot to load this live on Twitch. So let's do that now. All right, excellent. So now we're live streaming on Twitch. And thank you if you're joining me also on my Twitch channel, JW2542. We'll go back to the first slide of the slideshow, show that this is a live stream of lesson number 8, ratio problems, on this night, November 1st, 2023. So here is the link to the chat window. Again, if you're watching this on Twitch or on YouTube, you can donate to support this SHSAT course at Venmo Joshua Wiener -10. Click on the blue form link, which I'll also put in the chat window for class. And I'm going to start my timer for 10 minutes. So I'll see you in 10 minutes. If you're watching the recording, you can pause the video or just play it out. And in 10 minutes, I'll make an announcement to finish the quiz. Good luck. Okay, just 2 more minutes on tonight's quiz. 2 more minutes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please finish the problem that you're working on and make sure you have an answer for all 5 questions on SHSAT quiz number 8. That's time. And now, if you can go down to the bottom of the form and look for the bubble sheet, and then select your final answers. Don't skip any questions. This is a standardized test. And then also your best answer for the grid in. Click the blue submit button, and the school computer will auto-grade it for you. All right, and now what I'll do, just like we do in class, is I'll show you a method to solve each of the 5 problems in less than 2 minutes. So here we go. Welcome. Question number 1 reads, if 3x plus 5 equals 20, what is 6x minus 7? Well, we talked about how to do shortcuts here. If we do 3x plus 5 equals 20, we can subtract 5 from both sides using algebra. 5's cancel, and 20 minus 5 is 15. So 3x is 15. But the expression we want is 6x minus 7. So since 3x is 15, we know that 6x is 30, because it's double 3x. Then 30 minus 7 is 23. And the correct answer was D, 23, for question number 1. Question 2 reads, what is the least common multiple of x and y? Well, we're given the prime factorization of x and y. And if you're interested, x is really 16. If you multiply those numbers together. And y is 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8. It's 24. So one thing we can do is we could write out the 16 times table. We could write out the 24 times table. And then look at the larger number and see what's the first number that's on both times tables. And that really works. But using prime factorizations, if you want the least common multiple, remember what you do is you take the list of primes that are given from the smaller number. So we need all of these to be elements in the least common multiple. And then we look at the larger number, 2, 2, 2, and 3. And we note that, well, we've already taken care of the 3 2s. But there's no 3 in the prime composition up above. So we need to add a 3 to the list of factors. So this 3 needs to be added so that it's the right multiple. Writing that in exponential form, that's equal to 2 to the 4th power times 3 to the 1st power. And the correct answer was C. It's worth noting here that some students are like, yeah, I kind of just, the numbers aren't that big. And I could write out the times table and solve it too. So let's do that here quickly. What I'll do is I'll write it out here. I need the pen again. So right now at the times table for 16, we have 16, then 32, times 3 is 48, then 64, then 80, and so on. If we write out the times table for 24, we have 24, times 2 is 48. To get 3, you can add these two, 72. You can double 48, you get 96. And you can do one more, I guess. So then 96, 120 maybe. And those are the first 5 multiples of 16 and 24. You want to do is you want to go down the list here. See, 24 is not on the times table above, but 48 is. So we can find the least common multiple as well using this method. Here, 48 is the first number that's on both lists, and that's exactly what 2 to the 4th times 3 is. But since the answer was in exponential form, it's easier to just use the prime elements. 48 is the first number that's on both the times tables for X and Y. It's the least common multiple. Question number 3. WXYZ is a square made up of rectangles. The side of WXYZ is 32. SZ and TX are 16. UX and VY are 24. Find the area of the shaded region. What's nice is that the writer has given us those segment lengths. Let's use a double arrow here just to show what's given, and I'll do what's given in blueprint blue. So 16 spans TX. 16 also spans SC. And for the larger lengths, we have 24 and 24. But we're given that the square is 32 by 32. So using that information, since each side of the whole square is 32, if I go to corner W, this entire green bar, that's 32 units. And well, so is this green bar, since that's the large square. So by subtraction, we can find like WT. 16 from 32, that means this piece must be 16. If we go around like a merry-go-round, let's go to at WX now, X to Y. 24 units is already done, so this must be 8. 24 is done here, so this must be 8. And 16 is done here, so this must be 16. Now we have the entire perimeter mapped in terms of the segments. 16, 16, 24, and 8, 24, and 8, and 16, and 16. Thankfully, these are all rectangles. So we know that if this is 8, then this is 8, right? If I were to roll a red carpet down here from the bottom corner, right? That's a green carpet. If I were to roll a red carpet down like there, if this height is 8 over here, that's 8 on the other end, right? It's a rectangular carpet, so the other side is also the start and the stop line. Those are both 8s. Well, this height is 16, SZ, so that means that this side must be 8. And there it is. That side is 8. So now I have one side of that rectangle right there, and the one in the middle. Yeah, I'll write that in dark red. That must be 8 because 8 plus 8 is 16. Can you see it or no? Should I draw that too? I mean, this is 16, so this must also be 16, right? Because it's a rectangle. Okay, well, similarly, this is 16 because of this square. So if this is 8, then this must also be 8. This is 8 because, again, using the idea of rolling a little carpet runner out in, if I roll a carpet this way, if this end is 8, oops, if this end is 8, well, so this end is also 8. But this square up here is 16 by 16. Right? This square here is 16 by 16. So if that piece is 8, that piece must be 8. So the shaded region is a rectangle that is a square. It's 8 by 8. And the area of 8 times 8, that's right, is E64 square centimeters. So the correct answer was E. Question 4. Stuart and Brandy live 5 miles apart. Stuart starts jogging at 3 miles per hour from his house to Brandy's house. Okay, so try and sketch this really fast. Here's our friend Stuart, and he's going to run on this marathon week here in New York. He's going to jog down at from his home at 3 miles an hour. All right, and then Brandy is going to hop on her bicycle. And she's like, yeah, I'm going to go see my friend Stuart down the road. So she hops on her trusty bike. And she's going to zip down from her house. And she's going at 12 miles an hour. So a couple of things to note here. We know that from her house to, oh, wait, it skipped the pixels there. Oh, just a second, let me undo that. From house to house is exactly 5 miles. So Brandy is going at 12 miles. Stuart's going at 3 miles an hour. Brandy is going at 12. So I'm going to space that out as 4 of his arrows that are about the same size. That's 3. That's 4. So she's really going 4 times as fast because she's on a bicycle. Okay, and just pretend those arrows are the same length. Can I make that a little better? These arrows are all the same length. So that's 3, 6, 9, 12 miles an hour because he's jogging at 3 miles per hour. Okay, so we know that relative to each other, he's going 3 miles per hour. And she's going 12 miles per hour. So that means if they were to travel for an hour, Stuart would go 3 miles down the road, and Brandy would go 12 miles down the road. So the total number of miles that they would be closer to each other every hour, they're going to be 15 miles each hour closer together as they travel down the road. Everyone see that? So since he's doing 3 miles an hour and she's doing 12, but they only live 5 miles apart. So since the distance between the houses is only 5 miles, we're going to do, we're going to take that 15 miles and we're going to divide it by 3. So 15 divided by 3 would be the distance. It's only 5 miles apart from her house, his house to her house. The total distance is 5 miles, right, from house to house. So instead of going 15 miles, let's divide by 3. Well, then we should divide this by 3. 12 divided by 3 is 4 miles. Should work. If we divide this by 3, then that would be 1 mile. And sure enough, 1 plus 4 is equal to 5 miles. We have it right. So what's a third of an hour? 20 minutes. So Stuart would jog for 20 minutes. And she would bicycle for 20 minutes, he would cover 1 mile, and she would cover 4 miles in 20 minutes. And they would meet here on the road at this card here, 1 mile from Stuart's house. Correct answer was A. Brandy and Stuart can say hello to each other on the road. Say, hey, they're traveling down the road. Location will be right here, exactly 1 mile from Stuart's house. All right, last one for today. Question number 5. Farm worker Mike has 20 baskets of 25 eggs in each basket. Okay. He needs to pack those eggs into a carton. So here's a sample basket. I'll try to keep it here. And inside the basket, there's eggs. He's got 25 eggs in each basket. But you already know when you go to the shopping store, or hopefully you do, if you go shopping for mom or dad, that eggs get sold 12 each. So they come in at like a dozen. And usually they do them like 2 by 6 like this. And they'll be the same size circle, but I didn't have time to draw this beforehand, so I'm just sketching it quickly. Okay, so you'd open up the carton container and there'd be 12 eggs. Right? And the thing is that how many eggs is Mike going to have here? Well, 20 baskets times 25 is the same as if I do half on the first one and double the second. It's the same as 10 times 50. So what I'm saying here is if we do 20 and do times a half, but then we do 25 and do times 2, then we have the same, we just scaled one factor, halved one factor, and doubled the other. So it's equivalent. You can check yourself if you do 25 times 20, it'll work out to be 500 as well. Okay, so 500 eggs. But we're going to divide that into cartons of 12 each. So let's do that work now over here. 500. House that underneath the quotient bar, and we're dividing that into lots of 12. This is the carton of a dozen of 12. 4 times 12 is 48. Okay, subtract is a 2. Bring down the 0. Goes in 1 time. Remainder is 8. So 8/12. In other words, if we were to count the eggs that are going to go into the egg container, container there, where's the, here it is, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. You can see that, well, how many of them more do we need to complete it? We need 4 more eggs to complete the carton. Okay, so need 4 more, and then the carton will be completed. So the correct answer was 4. Okay, tonight we're going to go and focus on a topic that's always on the SHSAT, ratio problems. And we'll be given a ratio problem with 2 or possibly 3 or 4 variables. And let's look at a couple of the common ratio problems with a couple of examples. Excuse me, hold on just a second. Example number 1, model problem number 1. At an animal shelter, there are 4 rabbits for every 9 cats. There are also 3 dogs for every 1 rabbit. If there are 400 animals total, how many rabbits, cats, and dogs are there at the shelter? Well, we can set up a clipboard chart here with columns, 1 column for the rabbits, another column for the cats, another column for the dogs. Well, what we see here when we do that is that there's fact 1, 4 rabbits for every 9 cats, and fact 2, 1 rabbit for every 3 dogs. That here we have information for rabbits in fact 1 and fact 2. So what we can do is we want to find the least common multiple of those 2 numbers, and then we'll scale each row accordingly. So the least common multiple of 1 and 4 will be 4. But to make both of those numbers 4, leave the first row alone. But for the second row, we're going to do times 4. So we'll do 4 times 1 for the rabbits, and also 4 times 1 for the dogs. And then we'll get the true ratio between all 3 columns. And that will be 4 rabbits for every 9 cats for every 12 dogs. Okay, so now we have the ratio between 3 animals. For every 4 rabbits at the shelter, there are 9 cats, and there are 12 dogs. The total number of animals that we just counted would then be 4 plus 9, which is 13, plus 12, or 25 total. However, the writer said that there aren't 25 animals at the animal shelter caged. There are 400 animals total. But since this is a ratio problem, that means that you have to take 25 and multiply it by a whole number to scale it up to 400. This isn't too hard because you already know how to count quarters if mom sends or dad sends you to the store. So 25, 50, 75, 100 if we do times 4. And then that would be 100 if I did times 4. Times 4, that'd be 48. That'd be 36. And this one would be 16. But then we have to times it by 4 again to get up to 400. So that'd be 64. And 36 times 4 is 144. And 48 times 4 is tricky, but if I do 50 times 4, that's 200, minus 8 is 192. So now we have the exact number of animals that are being taken care of at the animal shelter. There are 64 rabbit cages with one, say they each get their own rabbit cage, 144 cat cages, and 192 for the dogs. And that is a total of 400. If you add the numbers up, we can just check that quickly as our side work. 4 plus 4 plus 2 is 10 carry. 10 plus 10 is 20. And 400 animals if we've scaled it up correctly. So once you get the ratio correctly as written, make sure you scale it. Here we had to multiply by 4 twice to get up to 400 animals at the animal shelter. Let's look at another example that seems difficult, but it's quite easy if you use a ratio chart like we just did with the animal shelter. Model problem number 2. The ratio of boys to girls in Mr. Jefferson's class is 6 to 5. If there are 165 students total at the school, how many are boys and how many are girls? Well, to do the math here, same idea. We're using just 2 genders, so boys plus girls would be a total of 11 students counted. But there aren't 11 students in all of Mr. Jefferson's class, but that's the ratio. We have to figure out what the multiplier is to get to the second row for all of his students. So we'll do 165 is the total. Put that underneath the quotient bar, divide that by 11, 1 time. Subtract 55, that's 15. That's the multiplier. So in other words, we have to go back to the chart and take each of these columns, each of the values in the columns to get to all students, we have to do times 15. Here we go. So 6 times 15 is 90. 5 times 15 is 75. And we can check that does give us a grand total of 165. So we can answer the writer's question. There are 90 boys and 75 girls. That's it. So by using an organizational chart like this, you can see that it's much easier. 90 boys and 75 girls for a total of 165 according to that ratio. Right. So that's how problems are usually presented with these ratio problems on the SHSAT. They're word problems in paragraph form. So what I've done for you is I've arranged 30 questions, 12 easy level, 6 mid-level, and 6 challenge level questions, as well as 6 grading review questions for the SHSAT review of ratio type problems on this exam. Here's the form link, which I've also put in the chat window for you guys. And if you click on the blue form link, or if you're watching this recording on YouTube or Twitch, you can also, they'll be open. You just have to cut and paste them or type them in from your computer. Okay, this is a 90-minute class. That's all the time that I have to set aside for this free class. So remember that we only do even problems only during the 90-minute class. So please work on questions 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30. So it's now time for 20 minutes of independent practice. Again, I'll mute and be quietly working and checking on the form codes to make sure everything's working. But good luck on SHSAT classwork number 8. After 20 minutes of time practice, we'll review 1 easy level, 1 mid-level, and 1 challenge level question to end class for tonight. Okay, enjoy and good luck on SHSAT Lesson 8, Ratio Problems classwork. Okay, just 5 more minutes on tonight's practice of SHSAT Lesson 8 ratio problems for the SHSAT. 5 more minutes. Okay, please finish the problem that you're working on and make sure that you have an answer for the even problems if you're going to submit to the school computer. That's time for our 20-minute practice on classwork number 8. What I'll do now is I'm going to exit the carousel just for a moment to refresh. As I said to verify the answer key while we were working. And scroll down now to the answer key here for classwork number 8. I'll read all the answers, so if you're working with a printed copy or online, you can just write in your notepad. Here are the answers to the 30 classwork questions. 1 was B, 2 was D, 3 was D, 4 was E, 5 was C, 6 was D, 7 was D, 8 was B, 9 was B, 10 was E, 11 was C, 12 was A, 13 was B, 14 was D, 15 was B, 16 was B, 17 was D, 18 was C, 19 was B, 20 was D, 21 was E, 22 was B, 23 was D, 24 was A, 25 was 28, 26 was 130, 27 was 7, 28 was 34, 29 was $3.25, and 30 was 60 miles per hour average. All right, in the interest of time, as I said, I'm going to pick one easy, one mid, and challenge level for us to go over. Let's look at the dance. Question number 2. The ratio of boys to girls at a dance was 2 to 3. If 45 girls attended, what was the number of boys who attended? Okay. Remember, we can do the total on the right, but I don't know if we'll need it for this problem. It was 2 boys for every 3 girls. That's 5 students for every 5 students. 3 would be girls and 2 would be boys. But 45 girls attended. So we have to find the multiplier for the actual total. This is the ratio. This is the total. So it looks like it's times 15. Take the ratio and scale it up times 15. Then we have 30 boys for 45 girls, which is 75 total. The correct answer was D. Okay, using this chart and adding the total column is just a good way to get all the information. So you can also check for step errors if you made an error scaling the row up. Okay, because 5 times 15, the total should total up to 75. Okay. Question number 13, 15. Oh, wait, we're doing evens only, right? That was an even problem, right? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. Registered voters. This is a good one because there is a shortcut here. And this is really a percent problem, though. There are approximately 20,000 registered voters in Liberty County. About 70% are Republicans, and about 42% are Democrats. About how many more registered voters are Democrats than Republicans? Okay. So, since this is a comparison question, how many more registered voters? They're very specific here. What's wrong with this highlighter? Hold on just a second. How many more are Democrats than Republicans? We can subtract the percentages first, and then we will save our work time. Let me explain. Take 42% and then subtract 17%. We'll have to cross off the 4, put C to 3 there, and then now this is 12. 12 minus 7 is 5. 3 minus 1 is 25% of 20,000. So that's a quarter times 20,000 is 5,000 more. Right? Since we're comparing it, we just need to find the difference in percent by subtraction. It's 25% more are Democrats in this county. Right? And so then a quarter of 20,000 is 5,000. 5,000, 10, 15, 20. Okay, so the correct answer was D, 5,000. Challenge level, let's go to challenge level. 16, the coins, that was a hard one though. Dinky's hat, that's another shopping problem. 20, that was a hard one. 22, 24. Let's see, the dried fruit. No, I got the bus. All right, let's end with the bus problem. Challenge problem that reads, a bus travels the first 160 miles in 3 hours. And then the next 260 miles at a rate of 65 miles every hour. What is the average speed of the bus for the entire trip? Good question. Let's see what's going on here. So I'll make a fraction for part 1 of the trip and a fraction for part 2. So the total distance is 160 plus 260. That's the distance. But if we want to know the amount of time that the bus is traveling. So 160 miles for 3 hours. But we don't know how many hours it is for the 260 miles, but we do know the rate. So 260 divided by 65. Well, that's not easy to do. Maybe if I do 260 over 65, multiply the top and bottom by 2, 520 over 130, cross off the zeros. Did I say that right? 5200. No, 520 over 130 is 52 over 13. Sorry, I did that right. It's 4. It's exactly 4. Suits me just fine. That's 4. So that means that it was 420 miles total that the bus traveled, 160 plus 260. And the amount of time is 3 plus 4 or 7 hours for an average of 60 miles per hour. So the correct answer was 60 for question number 30. Remember, this is part 1, and this is the trip part 2. But we can add them across because we're adding the total distance, and we want to know the total amount of time that's elapsed. All right, we don't normally do that with fractions, as you know. But that's right, 420 total miles, and the amount of travel time would be 7 hours total. So that's how you compute the new average. Okay, so we need to stop for tonight. Thank you again for joining me here live on Zoom, YouTube, and Twitch for a presentation of my SHSAT class. Again, this content is free online, the quiz, classwork, and homework forms. If you'd like an extra copy, you can email me at jw2542@wixsite.com. At my Wix site, you can see praise from teachers for my 15 years of teaching. I have helped students get ready for standardized tests as a specialist in the SHSAT, the test for Catholic high schools, the cooperative test, high school placement test, the PSAT, SAT, ACT, New York State Regents in math and science, AP exams in math, statistics, and physics, as well as the graduate record exam for college students. My students have received acceptance letters into the SHSAT schools. Catholic schools, quarter, half, and full scholarships have been accepted into college programs of their choice, as well as nursing school, law schools, graduate schools, and business schools. So if you'd like to know more about me, you can check me out on my Wix site. I've been doing this for 15 years. And thank you so much for joining me tonight on this free donation class to give a little bit something back to the community. Also, if you'd like to donate to this course, please go to Venmo and donate at Josh Wiener 10 to further the development of this excellent course. So next week, we will continue with lesson number 9. Here are the Google form links to the quiz, classwork, and homework. If you would like further access to the course for all of its features, including these quizzes, classwork, and homework sets for all 25 lessons, as well as the video support videos I have and that are in development, please email me at my Wix website or at jsmw2542@gmail.com. Again, thank you for spending some time with me studying mathematics. Good luck with your learning goals here at math, and happy studying to you. This is Josh saying goodbye from New York City. Okay, thank you and bye-bye. See you around.